everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Board of Advisors Member Spotlight, where we spotlight one of our Board of Advisor members on some of the cool things they've done with Nichols College and our students. Thrilled to have John the Bullet Maffeo, class of 1975, with us today. John's the Director of Accounting at East Boston Neighborhood Health. We're also joined by Isabella Richard, class of 2018. Also a part of the membership committee with the Board of Advisors. And really quickly, before we get into it, and for those first-time viewers, the Board of Advisors is a volunteer board of appointed and esteemed Nichols College alum that work together coming up with ways to support the students and the college through time, treasure, and talent. And before we start, John, you got to tell us, how did you get the nickname the Bullet?
All right, Sean. That goes back to my freshman year at Nichols College, which was started in 1971. At that time, you had to take a physical ed course if you weren't playing a sport in the off season. You're playing a sport. I had to take it in the first semester of my freshman year, and one of the things that the late coach Mike Vendetti was the instructor of the physical ed class, and they did a fitness test. So we're out on the football field, and he had everybody line up for a 100-yard dash. So I ran track in high school, and I did run a 100-yard dash, but I didn't want to run track in college. I was going to just play hockey. So we start out, he's lined 6 guys up, run. So I didn't even get into a track stance. Like I just stood there like everybody else was doing, and shut gun shoots off, take off. About 50 yards in, I was like in 4th place. And I said, I can't let this happen. So I kind of took off the last 50 yards. And I don't know what the time was, but he said, Coach Vendetti says, are you going to run track? I said, no. He said, well, you should run track. So as it turned out, there was somebody in the football field that lived in my dorm. He was a sophomore. And that night after dinner, we're back at the dorm and watching TV or whatever. And he brings up, he goes, oh, you should see how fast John runs. And then everybody looking at me, with my size, I got to take 2 steps for everybody else. Else is 1. And he came out, he goes, yeah, he was faster than a speeding bullet. And that's how it happened. That's how I got stuck with it.
Ever since then, the Bullet, right? 52 years later, I mean, I hear it shortened to Bullet now.
Yeah, but it wasn't a bullet. They took the D out and just left it as Bullet. But
well, I love that story. And like we were saying on the pre-call, I mean, the fact that 50 years later it's still stuck, it's a pretty cool nickname.
Yeah, and the guy that did it was Bob Dwyer. He was a sophomore. And I think he was from Shrewsbury. I think he's still in there. I see him every now and then on the internet, but he was the guy that did it.
Well, shout out to Bob. Well,
yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
We'll turn it over to Isabella for your first spotlight question, John. Thanks for sharing with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks so much for coming today, John. So would like to start out by asking you, what is the Board of Advisors as you see it in your own words?
I think it's a very interesting board. I mean, I enjoy going to the meetings on campus. It helps relate to, alumni with the current students, what they're doing. And the school's made tremendous strides, since I went there. The enrollment doubled. They've got all sorts of activities, sports. And I'm always excited at those interviews that we do with the speed interviews we do with the students. That's invaluable. I met a few students, and one of them was was working at an internship at the accounting firm, AAF, who Jack Finning is a member of the board, was doing an internship there. And so when I found that out, I spoke to one of Jack's, the lead auditor on our audit, who was a Nichols alum. And I said, I met this student that's going to do an internship there. I said, make sure she gets on our audit. So I always tell them when they bring in new kids on, they got to be a Nichols grad. And we do. They also do a pension audit, and we get some Nichols grads on that. So that's a criteria. I know if Jack's watching, he'd appreciate that.
Well, John,
But it's-
thanks. Go ahead. I'm sorry, John.
No, but I think it's good. You know, I've met a lot of students there, helped them out in other things. I was, like you, Sean, I was very impressed at the Board of Advisors meeting we had back on campus with the Bison Pantry. I mean, and especially Taylor Cornell, you know, reached out with her on a couple of things, and we did get some dental supplies in there from the new board member, Frank Sullivan, that we brought in, who not a Nichols grad. And his daughter went to BU Dental School, and she's studying to be a vascular surgeon at University of Texas, El Paso.
Nice.
And he got in touch with the director of BU Dental, and we got about $5,000 worth of supplies in for the food pantry in dental supplies. And they're also going to come in September. Taylor's going to organize it. They're going to do some of the BU students are going to come in and do a hygiene class for the kids, you know,
That's
coming in.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very good connection.
Well,
great.
John, thanks for sharing, and you actually answered my second question. My second question was going to be, you know, tell us some of the cool things that you've been able to give access to or to help out with, you know, relative to the students in the college. You already gave us a few. Any more that come to mind? I know you've done a ton.
Well, you know, Sean, I'm also chairperson of the Bison Club, and which was started in 2015, a booster club for support the student athletes at the college. And that's been a great success. We had a meeting last night, and since we started, they had the total numbers up until this fiscal year, which ends the end of this month. Total in gifts, but the athletes, just under $1.5 million.
Unbelievable.
That helps. What that does, it helps subsidize the athletic budgets. It's helped the hockey program. It's helped the women's hockey program, and we get all the alumni make phone calls, and especially with the Bison Blitz, the athletic Bison Blitz that's coming up in September. It helps subsidize the Boston Landing hockey tournament, which is taken off, and it helped the women's hockey team on a trip to Minnesota last year.
Cool.
So that's another thing that's very good, and you know, it's just growing. You know, trying to get. We had a good meeting last night. We're trying to get enhance what we're going to do, get more involved with the students. Because in any interaction, like at the hockey games and basketball games that I've been at, the students see alumni there, and they're very interested. And, you know, they ask you a lot of questions, and it's good to relate.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of respect there, both ways, I think.
Well, thanks for the answer, John. I know we could spend forever on what you do for the college and for the students, but thanks for giving us a little bit of an idea. I'll turn it over to Isabella for the final question, the spotlight here.
Yeah,
Okay.
so John, with all of your involvement, what advice would you give to other alumni or friends of the college who are looking to get involved?
Well, I've already recruited one person that's not. I've got two or three others on the line that are graduates that want to get involved. I tell them what it is. And when I graduated Nichols and I got out into the business world, and they asked where you went to college, the question was, and I said, Nichols College. Where's that? In Dudley. Where's Dudley? Where's that? Next to Webster. Where's Webster? My final answer was, did you ever hear of Sturbridge Village? Oh yeah, no, it's near there. Now when you go out and people hear the name Nichols College, the next thing that comes out, great school. And it's come so much in the last 50 years. The enrollment's doubled. The campus is beautiful. President Salmacy has done a great job. And I'm especially grateful to Mala for bringing the Bison's Den back.
Yes.
Because I was my senior year there, I was the first manager of the Bison's Den. We named it, actually.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
So
great.
a lot of memories there from there, and And it's amazing. The golf course is back. And the enrollment this year is outstanding. And, you know, the number of states, I think there's like 27 or 30 states that kids are coming from.
Great. Well, Bullet, thank you very much for jumping
Oh,
on.
you're
the
welcome.
spotlight. I know it's the hot seat and we put people on the spot, but
No, glad to do it.
and Isabella, thanks as always for being a great co-host. We'll see everybody soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabella.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Sean.
Talk to you next
Great trip.